Welcome to Psyched for Sanity. I'm one of your co-hosts, Dr. Tara McKelvey Parker. I am a licensed clinical psychologist. I specialize in treating and assessing complex trauma and attachment wounds from childhood.
And I'm your other host, Dr. Brindle Doss, a licensed clinical psychologist specializing in forensic psychology, trauma treatment, geriatric psychology, and assessment. And I have a personal collection of decorative skulls.
You do?
I do.
You do? I don't.
They're in boxes right now.
Okay, because I was
You
going to
haven't
say
seen them
I've
in a long-
seen your house. I haven't seen skulls because I think I would be
You would know.
having some questions.
Well, I want to emphasize they're not human or animal. They're decorative.
What does that mean?
Well, they're not from an animal or a person. That's what that means.
Oh, but it's still an animal skull, just not
Some
from a
of them,
real
yeah.
animal.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's just not real animal skull. It's still kind of like
When I was a kid, though, I did have real animal skulls. I was really into fossils.
like
and
you
things.
bought them from places.
No, I found them in my backyard.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
yeah.
But also, like, you are such a creep. That's such a creepy thing to do.
Listen, I'm an odd duck. Everyone knows that I'm an odd duck, and I am embracing all my quackery, okay?
Wow, that was almost unforgivable. And
I thought
now
you'd like that.
I am going to turn the tides. And
Are
I'm
you?
going to tell you
I don't know.
something I did that was kind of dark.
What are you going to top with skulls?
Well, when I was 7, I accidentally burned down a shed.
Wait,
It was our shed, but
so you burned down your own property.
yes.
Were you bored?
No, I was unsupervised
Oh, okay.
a lot of time.
Okay.
And this particular day, I think we had a babysitter. I don't know where she was.
Yeah.
She was not sitting.
She was not doing her job.
No. And she smoked, and I took one of her cigarettes, and I went to our shed, and I think it was December, but there was like a bunch of dry grass back there, and I didn't know what I was doing because I was 7, and I was smoking a cigarette the way I thought I should smoke a cigarette as a 7-year-old would. So,
Okay.
I mean, I didn't put it out. I didn't know, like, probably don't do that by dry grass. Like, it might start a fire.
Right.
And it did. So
Wow.
I was like next door playing with a friend, and my mom is like running out screaming that like the shed is on fire. And I was immediately panicked. And I remember feeling so guilty that my friend
you
was
knew
going to
what
think I
happened.
was like a bad like kid, like friend, that she was going to hate me. It was like really ingrained in me very deeply at like 7. I was like, she's going to hate me because I'm so bad. But I like think I hid myself in like a bathroom, like locked myself in, thinking there's no way they'll know it's
Right.
me. Like, how will they know that I started that fire?
Right.
While hiding in the bathroom, panicking, crying. Like, they were probably like,
Kind of
wow,
outed
she
yourself
did it.
there. Yeah.
But they like firefighters like showed me like the bag, with the cigarette, and they were like, "We're gonna take you to jail if you ever smoke again."
Oh, no.
And I was like, deal. Like, I was so
Well-
scared. Like, I'm, the whole scared straight thing works on people like me.
It works on you.
It works on me. But I was like, I will never again do anything bad in my life.
Yeah, well, you definitely trump skulls. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You
It
trump
was-
skulls. And going back to that lack of supervision.
Oh, yeah. Lack of supervision. Yeah. That's kind of, yes, it reminds me of our topic for today. We're going to
Right?
talk a little bit more about attachment.
We are.
One of my favorite things.
Yes.
It's a theory that has helped me figure out myself, I think, fairly well.
Helped a lot of people.
Yeah, we've talked a bit about attachment styles, but I had wanted to do a segment where we talk about what each attachment style needs to heal.
Right. So important to understand.
Yeah.
So are we going to talk about, kind of give everyone an overview really briefly of what the attachment styles are?
Yeah, well, just as a reminder, attachment style is basically a set of strategies that developed in childhood to help you stay close to your caregiver.
Right.
Because the idea is that we need to stay close to our caregiver for
For
physical and
survival.
emotional safety, survival.
Okay.
So there are, there's secure attachment, which is
Okay.
the goal. Again, research shows that it's probably about 50% of the population at this point.
Okay.
We've got 2 insecure types,
Okay.
anxious and avoidant, and then we have the unresolved or disorganized category.
Okay.
In general, with healing, we want to feel safer in connection. So people who are securely attached
Uh-huh.
do feel safe in connection.
Okay.
They know that they are going to be able to express their needs and feelings and they'll be reasonably met. They feel relatively confident in themselves. Um, so that's the goal, is to feel safe in connection and also to have more flexibility with how you manage emotion. Okay. So
Okay.
people who are securely attached, they have that reliable co-regulation from a caregiver
Right.
where they are, internalize the ability to self-soothe. And so when they are hit with big emotions, they are able to digest them, feel them,
Mm-hmm.
be able to access their wise brain to figure out
Right.
what to do to move forward or to seek connection or support from someone safely
If
to
needed.
help if
Yeah.
needed.
Okay.
Okay, so if you're insecurely attached, you just you can't do those things well because you didn't get that reliable co-regulation.
So today we're going to be talking about what those unsecurely attached or insecurely attached
Mhm.
folks need.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just kind of want to go through each style and I
Sure.
wanted to talk a little bit about what that might look like to give people a little bit of guidance and hope that some of these things can change.
Yeah.
Because you can always earn security by doing some specific things to help resolve some of these wounds.
I think that's really important to note because, especially when you're talking about things that happened in our childhood, functionally speaking, you can't really be responsible for things that happen in your childhood because you're a child. It
Mhm.
sounds obvious and easy, but, kids are developing and they're growing and they're not in charge of themselves.
Mhm.
Like, if someone had been supervising you,
Yeah, if
maybe
someone
you
had
didn't
been
burn down the
watching-
shed.
I would probably not have, burned down the
Right.
shed.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so we can start maybe with anxious preoccupied.
Anxious
so this
preoccupied.
is one of the two organized insecure types.
Okay. Organized insecure types.
Yeah. So their core fear is abandonment, or really inconsistency in relationships,
Okay.
because inconsistency from their partners and friends
Mm-hmm.
feels like abandonment because they
Yeah.
grew up with caregivers who are really unreliable. They could be very warm and loving and the next minute really angry
Right.
or anxious or depressed themselves. So these kids, again, really learned that connection is unreliable. So, their core fear is someone being inconsistent and abandoning, right?
Yeah.
So usually protective strategies for these folks are pursual. So in their relationships, they tend to be the ones that are chasing or pursuing
Uh-huh.
more heavily
Right.
because connection is what they are seeking, and they are
Right.
very sensitive to loss of connection.
So they'll do anything to have that
Mhm.
connection.
So a lot of pursuit, reassurance seeking. Do you love me? Do you like me? Am I important to you in some kind of capacity?
So would it be safe to say, like, almost an unfair, but like they're very potentially needy? They come across
They
as
can
needy
come
in
across
a
as
relationship.
needy because they are emotionally sometimes more high need.
Right.
And really consistency is so important. They register subtle shifts. Really, they're hyper vigilant, so
For any kind of shift in the
any
relationship.
kind of shift in tone,
Right.
body posture,
Yeah.
language. If they are not regulated,
Yeah.
then it automatically filters through. They don't like me. They're not here for me. They don't want to be with me.
They're going to
leaving.
abandon me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're not, or they're not interested right now
Right.
in this moment, and that feels like an abandonment. Because there's all of those coded memories from childhood of the parent being so inconsistent. These people just live in constant sort of fear and
Right.
hypervigilance and anxiety about being left in some form or fashion.
Right.
So what healing looks like for these individuals in relationship is very important that they are in relationship with people who can be consistent and predictable. So they say they do what they say they're going to do.
Follow through.
They are communicative, right? So if they're going to be absent for the day because they have business meetings or whatever, it's not about being constantly available. It's about explaining the distance. I'm going to be in meetings all
communication.
day. I'm not going to be able to talk, but I will, talk to you. I'll text you tonight,
Yeah.
right? And then the anxious individual's, goal in that moment is to be able to regulate themselves in that absence, because even though the person may clearly communicate, it still may feel really scary
Right.
for the person with, an anxious preoccupied attachment style. So their internal work is to regulate before pursuing,
Right.
before asking for the reassurance,
Okay.
before trying to connect, because it can get excessive,
Okay.
right? There can be a lot of calling, a lot of texting,
Okay.
needing a lot of time. And so in relationship, it's great when they have someone who can be predictable and consistent, but they have to really name the fear. I'm scared
Right.
about being left,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing is happening right now. I'm safe.
There's no attack. There's no abandonment.
There's no abandonment. My partner is probably busy at work and they love me.
Like they said they were going to be.
Yeah. And you know what? This is how I know they love me.
Mhm.
This morning, my partner gave me a really long hug and kiss, and I just felt loved. And I know, from other experiences in my relationship that I am a priority. But right now, this absence feels scary.
Right.
Breathe,
Mm-hmm.
take a walk, splash your face with cold water.
Yeah.
Really try to get calm. Okay. And then you can communicate to your partner what you need, how you feel, without it being a protest. So protest behavior is something that's kind of common for individuals with the anxious, preoccupied attachment style. That fear hits about abandonment. And the way it comes out is an angry protest. Like, how come you ignored me all day? Right? Do you not even care?
Well, I said I was going to be in meetings.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
Puts the person on the defensive in a way.
of course, because it comes out accusatory. It comes out as this protest. Really, it's this person is scared because they feel like their partner's pulling away or going to abandon them or rejecting them. And that's not the case in a loving, right, like healthy relationship.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it puts the other person on the defensive. But if you can, in that absence, when you name that fear, this is because of my childhood.
Right.
Here's the evidence that my partner does love me. Okay. Really do something to regulate your nervous system. Then you can say, hey, you know what? I was thinking about it. I think I needed a little extra support today. I get it. You were in meetings all day. Do you think next time, if that's the case, maybe when you're taking a break, could you just shoot like a quick, I'm thinking of you? That would help me so much. And then you can, like, from a regulated place, come and state your need. And then
it doesn't feel
partner,
as accusatory or demanding.
Right. But if you don't know that, if you're not regulating, then I think what these folks sometimes get caught up in is feeling the fear, coming out angry, protesty, accusatory, and then it really, like, unfortunately, like, doesn't get them the comfort connection that they're seeking. It usually, again, defensive, that feels like more space and is more scary.
So in a nutshell, these folks need regulation to heal and then a reliable partner. Is that?
Yeah, reliable. Yeah, consistency is key. Being able to give reassurance without shame, I think, is another big one.
Okay.
These individuals do need reassurance.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Right.
As long as, on their side of the, whatever, their side of the street, they're learning how to regulate the fear and communicating it in a way that is, clear and calm and more of a request than something that's a demand or a protest or.
That makes sense. Okay.
Because then these they do need quite a bit of reassurance and connection. They really thrive in connection. These folks, they're sensitive usually, pretty, emotionally, intense and deeply feeling. And so they've got those needs. They just need to be able to express them.
Okay.
And then as best as their partner can to meet them or communicate when they cannot, set a boundary in a kind way.
Yeah.
Always come back.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It really kind of clarifies that, what you need to look for in someone else and kind of what you need to do for yourself if this is where you're at.
Yeah, if you're here. So that's the anxious, preoccupied, and that's that's kind of their a few things to think about in terms of their healing journey.
Okay.
Then there's the anxious avoidant. Okay, so this is the individual whose core fear is loss of autonomy.
Independence.
Yes, loss of autonomy and engulfment. And engulfment is just a fancy word
For feeling overwhelmed by a person.
by a person's needs and feelings.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
people who are anxious avoidant, they get easily overwhelmed by a person's needs and feelings. They usually had parents who were more functional and less emotional, so they really like didn't get a healthy sense of being able to like name and process and feel their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So, feelings can sometimes just be overwhelming for them.
Yeah.
And then sometimes their parent can be intrusive. So they really fear that engulfment, overwhelm, and that equals loss of autonomy. There's not going to be any room for them in the relationship. So their protective strategies often are like the opposite of the anxious preoccupied. They tend to withdraw. They need a lot more space.
Okay.
In their relationships when they are feeling stress, overwhelmed. Yeah, they do. Anxious preoccupied kind of like, I need you more. Whereas the anxious avoidant kind of takes more space. They are way more self-reliant. So they're not going to necessarily ask for or, accept help, emotional support, those kinds of things. It doesn't register.
Okay.
They're just kind of like solo flyers.
Gotcha.
And then
lone wolves.
What?
Lone wolves.
Lone wolf. I mean, they definitely can be in connection, but it tends to be a little bit more functional connection and less emotional.
I see. That makes sense.
But yeah, solo flyer as in like, I'm going to do it myself. I don't need anyone. And they also deactivate. So some strategy to minimize emotion, distract from emotion, avoid emotion. So, distraction, intellectualization, humor can be, just sort of like dampen the emotion, get rid of it.
Compartmentalize, whatever you want to call it.
Compartmentalization, sure. So for them, what really heals in relationship is being with people who can respect boundaries.
So they're okay when they need space.
They are okay when they need space.
Okay.
Yeah, these individuals tend to need more space. And so they tend to thrive in relationship with people who respect their need for space and respect their boundaries. And also when intimacy is slow paced, actually.
Okay, so it's more gradual than like hot and heavy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Intimacy is slow paced. There are ways to connect without pressure.
Expectations.
So being able to just sit in silence or, I'm here to talk if you want, but I'm also here, I'm cool with just sitting with you. Giving choice and autonomy about things. So, like I really want to spend some time with you. Are you free Friday, Saturday, or Sunday? Like giving choice and autonomy. So those kinds of things are really helpful in relationship to help people with this kind of attachment style.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. But on their end, the internal work is they have to be comfortable with closeness because closeness comes with healthy, secure relationships.
I was about to say.
Yeah. So, if they need space, then they need to be able to communicate, I need some space and I'm going to come back in X amount of time. So being able to be more vulnerable in bite-sized pieces, being able to be affectionate.
That slow development of intimacy.
In bite-sized sort of pieces, like someone who, so it's going to, be slow-paced, but so closeness and vulnerability in small doses, learning that dependence is not weakness.
You mean unlearning?
Yes. Right. Because, these individuals usually, they were rejected for having emotions and wanting to be emotionally close.
Right.
So they learned that closeness, equals rejection or vulnerability equals rejection. I can't be my authentic self.
Right.
So I need to sort of keep parts of myself hidden. So it is, they need to go slow in their relationships with other people. And they have to learn, dependence is not weakness. And I can have needs. Having needs is healthy. Having needs is good.
And connecting to other people to meet those needs at times is appropriate.
Yeah, and other people have needs. Sometimes these folks in relationship have a harder time when their partners have needs, right? Because it triggers that part of them that feels like they're going to be overwhelmed by their partner's needs.
Engulfed is what you said earlier.
Engulfed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If they had an intrusive mom, like an anxious mom, then that energy as a kid, like when a mom is not able to regulate that fear and anxiety, can
Mm-hmm.
be really, that's again, those blurred kind of emotional boundaries. And that makes them really sensitive then to other people's needs and feelings.
Yeah.
So they may react negatively. And so, when needs are involved, theirs or their partners. So just learning that
Yeah.
needs, are okay. And
Right.
you don't have to meet the need necessarily. You
Sure.
can set a boundary kindly, with empathy, but
Right.
it's not your responsibility to meet.
So
all the
important, I think.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, and not to jump ahead, but I can imagine an anxiously attached person with an avoidant person would be a really challenging combination to heal.
Yes. And it's a very, very, very common,
Really?
very common
Interesting.
dynamic. Very common. And, there's newer research coming out and newer, folks in this attachment realm that are writing about how to make this dynamic work
Mm-hmm.
because it can absolutely. It's like the yin, to another person's yang can 1,000% work. These people are attracted to one another for a reason, but it can be it
Can also be really volatile, I
super
imagine.
challenging, and it can get volatile for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It depends, I think, on the level of attachment wound.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you can imagine, right, that because their fear, it's funny, the fear is the same, the
Okay.
insecurity is the same, because
Right.
they're both anxious, preoccupied, anxious, avoidant.
Mm-hmm.
These individuals are insecure and anxious in their relationships. There's not all the safety, but the strategies they use are literally the
Completely
opposite of one
Yes,
another.
absolutely.
So, when an anxious avoidant person feels overwhelmed and they need to withdraw, the anxious preoccupied person is like, what the actual heck?
Right. Reactive.
And it like really spikes their fear. And so then they pursue, they're hyper vigilant. They're like, please soothe me.
Mhm.
I am like so scared, especially the
Right.
one who can't self-soothe, right? They're like really, really like going after it. And the anxious avoidant is like, holy moly, I can't do this. This is
Right.
like way too much.
This is the exact opposite of what I generally prefer.
And also like my fear about needing to comfort you and be responsible for you and meet all your needs right now is so high. I can't do this. I gotta go. And like a lot of this is largely unconscious.
Sure, they're not thinking these things.
About this
no,
stuff unless
right.
you or me, and I obsess about it like pretty constantly. It's just like I just think about people in attachment terms like all the time.
Right.
But yeah, this is what happens, and it gets a little crazy.
Okay.
It can be hard.
Okay. So we kind of have an idea of how these two kind of need to move forward to heal.
And then there's one more one more
Yes.
style. Yeah, there's the unresolved or disorganized style.
Right.
Okay, so this is the attachment style that is the most wounded.
Right.
Okay, so their core fears are all the fears that I've listed thus far.
Okay. Combined.
All of them, engulfment, overwhelm, and also abandonment.
Yikes. Yeah.
All of them. Plus, they had intense neglect or trauma or something chronically stressful, scary, threatening happening in their lives
Mm-hmm.
to where their core wound on top of that is that connection is just not safe.
Mm.
Like it's scary and
Yeah.
it's dangerous, right? It's threatening. So they have all the things plus connection does not equal safety.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, so their protective strategies are all that I've outlined thus far,
Wow. The whole bag.
the whole bag.
Okay.
That's what if you look this up, this attachment style, you'll see the term push pull a lot.
Okay.
The push pull is the clashing between your anxious and avoidant
I see.
parts. I need connection. I will do what it takes. I will pursue. I will bend myself into a pretzel. I will over accommodate. I will do all the things.
And then I'll withdraw.
And then I will withdraw.
Mm.
Okay, because it doesn't feel safe,
Right.
or I don't feel safe, or I'm not going to get it anyway, or I'm going to test my relationship to see, if my partner will come back. There's all kinds of all of that going on.
Right.
And then when none of that works,
Mm-hmm.
it is collapse.
Okay. What do you mean by collapse?
Depression, numbness,
Mm.
dissociation.
I was about to say dissociation.
Exhaustion, just a
Okay.
heaviness and exhaustion, a general blanket of just
Right.
heavy weight.
Okay.
It's like nothing is working to get what I need in this relationship.
Okay.
And so it's just a total collapse, and dissociation and confusion.
Well, then how do these people, I mean, I'm almost, I don't hesitate to ask, but I hesitate to ask, what do these people need to heal?
Yeah, well, they need all the things that I've outlined up to this point,
Wow.
right? So they have to work on, the closeness in small doses
Okay.
too, and they have to work on the regulating when they feel scared,
Right.
like all of the things I've outlined.
Not being demanding when they have an emotional need.
And that comes from naming the fear,
Mm-hmm.
right? Examining the evidence in your relationship that things are generally safe if they are. And this is a whole other ball game if you're in a relationship with someone who activates you and you're not able to repair.
Mm.
So that's,
Right.
in general, I'm talking about like secure relationship. But
Right.
so they've got all of those things.
Yeah.
But then they have the safety piece. So in relationship, what it looks like to heal, number one is safety before intimacy. So
Wow.
that can be physical intimacy.
Safety before intimacy.
Yeah. Physical intimacy and emotional intimacy. So, really like going slow with physical intimacy until you feel really safe with that person.
Right.
Not disclosing a lot about your background. Like not being vulnerable, actually.
Yeah.
Like, vulnerability comes from safety.
Right.
You have to feel safe enough in a relationship to divulge.
Right. And when you don't feel safe in a relationship, you tend to withdraw or not be vulnerable.
Yes, of course. Yeah. So safety before intimacy.
Okay.
Trauma-informed pacing. Everything is slower.
Mm. And that can be hard for these folks because I feel like because of the disorganization, there's an air of impatience.
Well, yeah, it's because of that anxious, preoccupied piece.
Right.
We want closeness. We want closeness so much, but it is also so scary.
Right.
Because those of us with that attachment style grew up with two incompatible truths. One, like we depend on our caregivers for survival.
Right.
We want to connect with them. We love them.
And
But two, they are scary or dangerous sometimes.
right.
Or unpredictable. Not here. They're not available. So like, we want connection really, really badly. And so there can be some of that
Yeah.
part that gets stirred up.
Right.
And then we're more likely to ignore red flags or not set boundaries. And boundaries are so important for safety.
Right.
Right. Like,
Huge.
and so then we end up in relationships potentially that are not super healthy and like rushed and intense, right? But like
Right.
we need steadiness and slowness.
Consistency.
And consistency and predictability. All of that stuff is really important in relationship.
Okay.
And then, really for internal work, I think one of the most important things
Okay.
is being able to integrate this part of you that wants closeness and the part of you that is scared of closeness.
Yeah.
And
Bringing together the yin and the yang.
And what that means is
Uh-huh.
not minimizing the fear.
Okay.
The
Acknowledging
fear-
the fear and
Naming the fear. And the fear is saying that you deserve protection. You deserve to feel safe in your relationships. It's not healthy to jump into any relationship willy-nilly.
right.
It takes time to be able to feel safe.
Yeah.
It takes thoughtfulness, right? So the fear is so, so important, even though sometimes it's super heightened because of the past.
Right.
It's saying something important. So we want to name it. We want to use it to set boundaries, to go slow,
Sure.
to be intentional, to really like figure out what we want, who we want to be in our lives.
Sure.
And then also like learn that not all relationships lead to harm. Right?
Ooh, say that again.
Yeah, not all relationships lead to harm. That's what the fear wants to say because of our early experiences.
Right.
But we go slow.
And
right?
you can
We set
unlearn.
boundaries.
You can unlearn.
And we get into relationship with safe people.
Right.
We unlearn that relationship is scary. It's
Right.
dangerous. It's threatening.
Vulnerability is scary.
Vulnerability is scary. Yeah, we unlearn these things when we are able to get in relationship with people who respect boundaries, who are predictable, consistent, safe.
Wow.
And also, though, that we're doing the work on ourselves
Right.
to name the fear.
Huge.
Right? To sort of regulate ourselves, like meaning keeping ourselves safe. So setting those boundaries, saying very little on those first dates, like taking time to build a relationship.
Well,
like really
not even
getting to know someone.
not even necessarily dates, but just friendships.
Yeah.
Relationships.
Exactly. All the ships.
All the ships.
All the ships. All the relationships.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've covered a lot today.
Yes.
Really helpful stuff, I think. I'm really excited for folks to learn and to listen from you because you do such a great job of like illustrating all of this.
Thank you.
What I've taken away from today is really the first step has to come from understanding where you are on this kind of attachment kind of profile or spectrum, so to speak. And then where your significant other may be, and then taking those steps. I think breaking it down like you did was really, really helpful just to kind of elucidate or illuminate, those kind of directions. What are you taking away from today? Because what are you taking away? Because you did so much wonderful sharing with so many folks, and I'm so excited to hear it. But what are you, because you have all this stored within you, this knowledge.
All this knowledge.
What are you taking away?
What am I taking away? The thing that is coming to mind is how much I love talking about this stuff. It's like one of my favorite things to talk about. It's like it's been so helpful for me to understand myself and my upbringing, and it like informs my parenting, and I just get really passionate about it. So I'm like happy to share it with everyone.
You seem like really content and happy right now, and I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I loved sharing with you.
I love listening and learning. Hopefully you guys at home have been learning and listening with us, and we'd love for you to drop off some feedback. Let us know what you think. This podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only and is not a substitute for therapy, diagnosis, or any kind of professional mental health treatment. We hope that we can share with you our experience authentically and genuinely, and we hope that occasionally we'll make you laugh. Maybe you can relate to our quest and how we're psyched for sanity. The content we share is our personal opinions and insights. They are not clinical insights to anyone, and they don't represent or reflect any entity that we work and or have worked for in the past. But if listening to this podcast has made you think, we really encourage you to seek out a mental health professional in your area.